In the age of social media, image is everything. Want to be treated like a celebrity? Well, you've got to act like a celebrity. You've got to look like a celebrity, which means mansions, expensive cars, shopping sprees, brunch with the girls, dinner with the guys, drinks with the guys. Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok are where people go to floss, to flaunt, and to showcase their curated lifestyle. And really and truly, there's nothing wrong with that. If you've got it, you have the means, then you can go ahead and flaunt it. But the problem is, a lot of you don't have it. A lot of you are sinking further and further into debt, trying to appear rich. Basically, you're going broke trying to be internet rich. Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rogan and this is This Bahamian Gal. On my platform, I do social commentary and reaction videos. I encourage my audience to have private conversations in public. And for the people who keep asking me if Rogan is indeed my first name, that is my name, born Rogan. I'm not trying to capitalize off of Joe Rogan's fame, I promise you. All right, let's get to the video. I am really excited about this episode. I know some of you watch influencers and just regular people on Instagram and TikTok and wonder, like, how are they affording this lifestyle? What is it that they do outside of like celebrity-dom? Or if you're a top influencer, how are people able to afford these expensive houses and these expensive cars? How are they able to go on these shopping sprees that they do all the time? I'm going to tell you some of the tricks that a lot of these people are doing. And I call them tricks because that's exactly what they are. But even worse than that, what kills me is that so many people who aren't aware of these tricks and these tools of the trade are spending their money like crazy to give off that same appearance, to give off this appearance of wealth. Let's start here, because sometimes we think it's them and it's not us. So how many of you guys who are watching make plans for the weekend with your friends, whether it's to go to dinner or to brunch, or to breakfast, or to lunch, or to a club, or to a party, or to an event? How many of you make those plans regularly? And how many of you feel like you cannot go to this event without making a stop at the mall to go to Zara or some other boutique to get an outfit? You can't go to this event without a new outfit. You can't go to this event without a new pair of shoes, a new hat, a new whatever, some new makeup, some new skincare. How many of you spend your money on that? And why do you do that? I know so many people, when it's time for brunch or some event, they have to go out and buy a new outfit, new shoes. They need to get their nails done. They need to get their hair done. They're going to get their makeup professionally applied. They're spending so much money, not just for the event, but because they know that they're going to be photographers there. They know that they're going to be taking their cell phone and they want to take pictures of themselves there. And for what? Not just for memories, but because they have to capture all these moments. They have to capture the outfit. They have to capture the look for social media. There's this crazy pressure to keep up with the Joneses on social media, and it's having a very dire consequence, because what's happening is that the lifestyle that they're projecting on film or on camera or in their Instagram feed is directly contradicting their real life. A lot of them are not in a great financial position, but they have to give off the appearance that they are. And social media has this weird way of distorting reality, making us feel like what we're seeing in the curated feed is the norm and our regular lives are not. And what's most insane is that the people who you see, not all of them, but a good chunk of them who you see flossing and flaunting online cannot afford their lifestyle. So I want to read two things and then we're going to get even deeper in the discussion, because you know I like to have my little support here. But I want to read this, just a snippet from this report from the American Psychological Association that said that nearly 40% of people report feeling more pressure to succeed because of social media. So this pressure manifests in different ways, like people would be out there purchasing designer clothes or eating out at fancy restaurants or even taking out loans to buy tech gadgets. Because, you know, sometimes we just think about Instagram, but you have like YouTubers who review a lot of like the latest technology, and a lot of them aren't getting those tech gadgets from the companies. They're not just always sending them to them. So they want to keep up the appearances like they have the latest tech gadget. It could be an iPhone or whatever. So they're taking out loans to get these things. And I want to read another study from 2021, because we're talking about so much credit card debt, that said that 62% of people who use credit cards to buy luxury items do so in order to create the illusion of wealth. 62%. That number is high, more than half. Putting themselves in debt for what? And then the crazy part too is that you have individuals who come on social media and if you look at their feed, you don't even see outfits being repeated, because in their minds, they're acting like celebrities who are on the red carpet. Like, you can't wear the same thing twice. So they're not even doing that. I tell you, even on this platform, I had people come into the comment section and say, you wore that before. Uh-huh. And I'm going to wear it again and again and again. I remember, maybe 5, 6, maybe 7 years ago on Instagram, I was so proud of this girl. This Jamaican gal came on Instagram because people were criticizing her about wearing the same 2-piece bikini. Her body looked great. The bikini looked great. And I love the fact that she read them the riot act, because it was she said, this is my bikini that I bought with my money. And I'm sure some of you remember this girl too, because it went viral. And she was like, and you'll see me wearing the same thing over and over again. That's the problem. Too many of you all are on here stunting and pretending like you have it and having to buy bikini after bikini or outfit after outfit to impress people who really, you don't even know. And they don't care about you when you go bankrupt. And I was just like, this woman is a woman after my own heart, because I don't feel the need or the pressure to constantly buy something for a platform that this is not. I love my platform. It's a great platform, but I mean, why am I going to be going broke for this? Then you have these apps like Afterpay and Klarna, which to me, I don't have an issue with it per se, but I feel like it's like a good way to be broke now and to be broke later. Because if you can't afford something in that moment, then why not just hold off until you can? And I know people are going to say, no, I use Klarna because sometimes you need something right then and there in the moment. Okay, I get it. But then when the 2 weeks come and you have to make a payment or something like that, can you afford it? A lot of people can't afford it, And again, I'm not against Klarna and Afterpay. I'm just saying, it's just a thought process that sometimes people want something and they want it so badly that they genuinely can't afford it, that they will just go ahead and use Klarna just to kind of get them over until they can get the item. I think influencer culture, when it comes to these individuals too, everyday people and influencers who are going broke to appear internet rich, I think the influencer culture has a lot to do with it. Celebrity culture has a little bit to do with that, but the influencers are becoming, I suppose, the new celebrities. And when you see your favorite influencer wearing a certain boot or shoes or bag or whatever, even some women with wigs and weaves and that sort of stuff, it's like there's that pressure to go and buy those things as well. And it's not always cheap. So I want to bring up this Business Insider article that I saw. This was a couple of years ago. This is from 2019. This is a London-based YouTuber who faked being rich on Instagram just to show how easy it is. Because again, sometimes people go broke following these individuals online and they don't know that they're faking it in so many different ways. And you're going to hear about that in this video today. But let's just read a little bit. His name is Byron Denton, a London-based YouTuber who's known for his channel TBH Byron. He spent a week pretending he was rich on social media and said he was surprised at how easy it was. And so he would show himself wearing designer clothes. I'm just reading here, wearing designer clothing from brands like Balenciaga and Off-White, shopping at Louis Vuitton, and sitting on a private jet, among other activities you'd expect to see on a celebrity or an influencer's Instagram. And he says, quote, "I saw a lot of people faking holidays and stuff, but I thought it would be cool to take a different approach. I'd always wondered if the reason people are so obsessed with celebrities was due to the fact that they can afford to live a life not everyone can." And so he would use these, he used 2 photo editing apps, Facetune and PixArt, to superimpose images together, and Adobe Photoshop Lightroom to color the final product. It says it took him about 45 minutes from shooting to editing to create each Instagram post. And if you look here at this picture on the screen, he's sitting here on this is like a green screen, like the sofa, reading a magazine. And if you look at him, he looks like he's inside of a jet. That's not bad at all. I wouldn't have known, honestly, that he weren't on a jet, on a private jet. And he said most people didn't notice that his pictures were edited. Everybody bought the lie, basically. One of the things I think people forget too when they're following these celebrities and these influencers is the fact that a lot of them don't purchase these products themselves. Some do, but a lot of them get compensated from companies to showcase a bag or showcase outfits or shoes or that sort of thing, or a hotel. And Others are doing work. This is how they make their money. They're showcasing these products. So some of them get them as gifts because the companies know, like for example, Balenciaga knows if they were to send something to Kim Kardashian, who has hundreds of millions of followers on Instagram, that is advertisement they couldn't pay for. Just for Kim to wear it. And then Kim has influence. There are people who want to be like her, who want to dress like her. So they're going to see that bag. And so it's nothing for them to send this bag to her. I also need you to understand too, that these purses that we all covet, they may retail for like $20,000, $30,000, $10,000, that sort of thing. And it does not cost that to make. You're paying for marketing. You're paying for prestige. You're paying for exclusivity. That's what you're paying for. I used to watch, I don't even know how I ended up on this part of the internet or on YouTube, but there was, if I remember the guy's name, I'll put it there. He was like a leather craftsman out of Europe. And he would show you, like he would take a bag that was like, let's just say Balenciaga, and he would recreate it with materials. And like when you saw how much it came up to, it was like nothing, maybe under $100 to create a bag. Now, depending on the type of leather, that sort of thing, or the brass fixtures, it might be a little bit more expensive, but it was way cheaper, significantly cheaper. It was like, I was watching that and I was like, I will never buy an expensive purse again, because this is like highway robbery. So you're just paying for the prestige of this. But when you look at it, it's just stupid. The money you spend on a bag, you could put for like a down payment for a house. Let's also talk about how a lot of people love to stunt, not just with clothing and cars, but like their airline travel. You know, it's a privilege and a blessing to be able to fly first class on a jet, but everybody can't afford that. And so because Instagram and TikTok have created this appetite for this luxury content, a lot of people are faking online that they're in first class when they're not. For example, it says Dubai model exposed by co-passengers after she posed in business class cabin and posted photos online, then returned to her seat in economy before takeoff. She could have saved the day or saved herself if she just said, you know, one day I'll be in first class or something like that. Like, not really in first class today, but, you know, just a girl can pretend or a girl can wish, can't she? You know what I mean? People could be like, yeah, you know what? It's nice. By the way, like first class is cool. I've been in first class once in my life and I didn't pay for it. I got it for free when, you know, like how the flights are sometimes like super packed and they'll ask somebody to, you know, take another flight. And I was coming from New York going to Nassau and I was like super tired. Everybody was super tired. They were like, no, I'm not leaving. And they kept like upping it, like $200, $300. We'll give you $400 worth of credit. And I was like, hell to the no. When they got to like $1,500 worth of credit and first class to the final destination, I was like, I'll take that. So that was my first and only time in first class. I recently came back from the UK and I had a middle seat, a center seat. And I was like, damn, I wonder how much first class would cost, thinking it was going to be like $200, $300 extra. And even that, I was like, I don't know. When that woman told me it was going to be $7,500, I was like, oh, you know, center seat ain't so bad, you know. I like the center seat. Center seat is cool. And why is it like every time like you're going like on the flight and you're in coach, like the people in first class try not to make eye contact? They act like you had like a stoplight and you're going to ask them for $1 or something like that. Like, come on, man, give me $1. Like, they don't even want to make eye contact. They're just like, don't look at the paupers. So I think all these attitudes fuel this thought process, fuel these feelings that people have about sitting in coach. Coach is cool if I have an aisle seat or a window seat. And someone else said, there's no shame in traveling eco class. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with, listen, if I had to choose between coach and first class, I would absolutely choose first class. Because you have more legroom, it's more spacious, you get your own bathroom to the front where fewer people are going, so you don't have to wait long to use the toilet and all that stuff. It's cool. But at $7,000 more, $5,000 more, no sir, I will take ego class and I won't be ashamed about that. Genuinely be rich. Genuinely have it like that if you're going to be doing this. I'm not going to be going broke for this foolishness. You know how many times I've been invited out? And I think this is one of the reasons too why I don't really hang too tough with a lot of folks. Because I am more on the frugal side. And on top of that, I'm not rich. Far from it. okay? And I don't come on my platform in front like I got it like that, because I don't got it like that. What I have is what I save. What I have is what I worked hard for. You know what I mean? But I've never felt the pressure or the need to stunt for people. I don't. But I used to get invited out all the time. I remember this young lady was like, oh my God, she used to have like a whole itinerary for the weekend. She's like, on Friday, we're going to go and do this and go to this club. I don't really club. Then Saturday, she was like, we got to do brunch and what you wearing? And I'm like, what? I've never been surrounded by girlfriends who I had to explain what I'm wearing. I just wear whatever the hell I want to wear and I just come, you know? You wear what you want to wear, because I don't want anybody telling me how I should dress just to go and eat brunch. So, you know, I had to kind of like melt off the scene with that one, because you have to understand too, it's not just social media that does it. Your circle can put a lot of pressure on you to spend a bunch of money that you don't have or that you don't need to be spending, you know? Going to brunch and lunching it up on the weekend all the time, that stuff adds up. So when homegirl was like, oh, we could do the club, and then all I was hearing was chicka-ching, chicka-ching, you know, it's just too much money and I ain't for that. So no, I think we also have to remember that all of this stunting for the gram or stunting for TikTok, it's going to take an emotional toll on you if it hasn't already. If you always feel this intense pressure to look nice, to have the latest perfumes, to have the latest anything, you need to take a step back. Maybe I'm not saying unfollow somebody that really gave you like joy or anything like that, but just don't watch as frequently if you feel the pressure to perform, or you feel the pressure to spend money on things and to buy things that you truly cannot afford. You might need to take a step back, because you're going to constantly be comparing, and it's never going to be enough, especially if someone's resources eclipse yours. If they genuinely have more money and you're just trying to keep up, the more they buy, you're going to fall so far behind, and you're going to fall behind in debt. And you're going to be like, making sure this thing's still recording. You're going to be like, I can't keep up, because you can't, because you shouldn't have been trying to keep up in the first place. I want to play this video from this TikToker. It's called Midi for Real. Midi, I think it's Midi or Mighty, Midi for Real. And she's talking about the Bai Fu Mei, which is rich and pretty girls in China, and what they do to keep up appearances online. It's so tricky. Let's go.
Can you identify real and fake Bai Fu Mei in China? You may have seen some of the Chinese girls posting photos like this, showing that they are enjoying their life at very expensive places. The photos make them look very rich, but is that real? So this guy went undercover in a WeChat group, which they say consists of a lot of Bai Fu Mei in Shanghai, and he revealed the truth after 2 weeks. The guy was expecting all these Bai Fu Mei to talk about the latest fashion, the luxury brands, but what they did was totally opposite. The group was actually finding ways to appear rich. So what they do is, for example, they will rent a Ferrari for 6,000 RMB and split among 60 girls. So each girl only need to pay 100 RMB to take a photo with the Ferrari and post on their social media. Or they'll rent the Birkin bag for 1 month for 1.5 RMB and split among a few girls, so the girls can carry the bag to see other guys. They can share everything, even the Gucci stockings. Or they only need to pay 1 night hotel fee at Ritz-Carlton and share among a lot of girls. So you only need to pay a very little amount to have a very glamorous Ritz-Carlton photos like this. The motive behind all this was to increase their social status in order to find a rich husband. Personally, I think showing off is totally fine. It's just a personal trait. But showing off what you don't have, that's called cheating. That's a moral issue. So instead of finding ways to appear rich, how about we just be real and earn that rich life ourselves?
Boom. Couldn't agree more. You sharing a bag with all these other girls and splitting the cost of like a car rental to appear. So hold on, all this to find the husband, right? So you're already starting off on the wrong foot. So now what happened when homeboy want to like take it to the next level, and then you don't have this stuff? What you gonna do? What, these girls dangerous? Dangerous. Oh, we're gonna get back to the video in a second, but just wanted to say thank you so much to all of my new subscribers. And if you have just come across this channel and you are enjoying the content, please go and check out my playlists. If you've been here for a while and aren't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. And also, if you want to support this channel financially, you can scan the QR code on the screen to buy me a cup of coffee, or you can go into my merch store where you can find lots of hats, t-shirts, hoodies, mouse pads, you name it. And that's another way for you to support the channel. if you don't have the money at this time, here's another way that you can support this channel without paying a dime. You can watch the commercials. Really and truly, you can watch a commercial in its entirety. That helps this channel a great deal. So that way you don't have to give up anything, but you still put some money in my pocket. Anyway, back to the video. I'm just going to jump right into the next video. I found this girl online and I learned some things because I thought what she's about to be talking about, I thought that was only happening in the Hollywood circle, meaning like what companies, what like film companies were doing. Come to find out, regular everyday people were doing this. So it says it's so easy to fake multimillionaire lifestyle in LA. We know how LA goes.
I'm not naming no names, but I wish you guys knew how easy it is to fake being wealthy for the internet here in LA. A lot of those big money guys and your favorite creators don't live where you think they live. So up the street from here, we have this $100 million mansion that costs $90 an hour to rent out. A lot of creators rent that space once a week, film their content, and make it look like they live there. Rent a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, $99 an hour. It gets crazier because most people in LA have a following. Because to be a model or an actor, there's a lot of casting calls you can't go to unless you have a following. What used to happen is when you got with an agency, they would dump you a bunch of bots. Now most people realize how that damages an account, but the metrics are still there. And since most people don't know how to do that, they end up buying followers, likes, comments, shares, everything. So they can go to casting calls and keep their agency. There's even more because there's agency funded houses out here. Anyone who's part of that agency can go film there and make it look like they live there. And they encourage you to do this because it looks better for the internet. But there's even more because we also have designer rental services. It's between $300 and $800 a month and you get bags, shoes, sunglasses, clothing, anything you need, all designer. Just wear it, get your pictures, and then send it back. As long as you didn't ruin it, you don't have to pay for it. You can fully construct a lifestyle out here of wealth. And that's part of the reason we're starting to get a bunch of influencer debt resolution companies now. Like, you don't need to feel bad about yourself. Just wear the 10-cent shirt from the thrift store. Nobody cares, I promise you. Build your content around something else. You don't have to look rich to be a creator.
Absolutely. And I've heard that before, that if you want to get auditions in the industry as an actor, you have to have a following. Even if you're the most talented person, and that's not to say that they wouldn't make exceptions, but I'm telling you, like, they want to know that you come with your built-in following because it's just so much easier to market you because you already have like your own fan base. But she's right. A lot of times we will look at people who will say, have these fancy homes. You're like, oh my goodness, it's so nice. Like, now I got to go and pay and rent a place so that I can shoot my content. For what? I shoot in my home. And before I had this place, when I lived back home in the Bahamas, I shot in my townhome. When I moved to the States, I had an apartment that wasn't fancy. And I literally found like a corner of my bedroom, threw up some what you call those string lights or whatever that I got from Target for like $5. I put my little bookcase up, which is probably was still in the back there. Just tried to create like a little ambiance in my room just to do my content. At the end of the day, it's about you and it's about your content. I've watched people go viral sitting inside their car, doing videos, millions of views, sitting in their car, and not no fancy car. Okay? So you don't have to go out there and pay rent or rent a place and stuff. Now, I certainly understand to an extent. Like for me, like I want to get into interviewing people one-on-one, not just over not Skype, Zoom or anything like that, or Riverside or anything like that. I want to be able to talk one-on-one with people, but I'm not going to have them come to my home. That's number one. That's just this is my personal space, and I just can't have like strangers inside my home. So I have to now think about what I'm going to do, and I damn sure ain't going to be spending no money. I'm a very creative person, so I'm going to figure out a way to get it for free. I'm not going to rent any place that's going to cost me money. Too many people are, again, they just want to give off this illusion like I got it. Do not look at these podcasters. I'm begging you. Do not look at these podcasters with their fancy setup and think they just have it. Some do, but not all of them. Okay? A lot of them are in debt. I've seen YouTubers hiring a bunch of staff and stuff like that to give the appearance like, oh, we're like this big company. And then 6 months later, you have to fire all these people because you can't afford it. Don't be a fool. Don't be a fool, and don't try to keep up. If you're a one-man band or one-woman band, keep doing that until you get to the place where you're making sufficient money regularly, like clockwork. That money is coming through, and then you can say, yeah, I can now hire a person or two. And then build small, scale small. Don't overdo it like a lot of these people, because trust me, some of them folks who are working for them, blowing up their phone today saying, hey, when can I get my check? Okay? So don't follow up on the illusion that you're seeing online. So let me play one more, and it's from the same girl who you just saw, because she's now explaining how people do this, like renting in LA. So I think that would be interesting for you guys to see. So here we go.
A lot of people asked how exactly people are pulling off this fake wealth thing, so I'm going to show you how to do it, but I'm going to preface this with a few things. We're not hating on anyone, we're just being nosy. Two, this is not contained to the influencer space. A lot of those red pill guys are charging their followers for this advice so they can get more matches on the dating app. So here's the $95 an hour mansion. This one's $175 an hour. I mean, not gonna lie, I'm tempted. Now we can get a 2020 bikini for $1,500 for a few days, or a G-Wagon for $399 a day, or we can get the classic bikini Urus for $100 an hour. We're gonna rent an outfit, and to be clear, I don't actually have a problem with this. I do think it's a really good sustainable option. Just showing you guys how it fits into the equation. Now we're gonna get our jet. Yeah, I want the executive jets. This one was $79 an hour. Now we're gonna get some shopping bags off of eBay, go down to Rodeo, make it look like we had a little designer shopping spree. Now to clarify, this stuff was not created with the intent that people were gonna use it this way. A lot of it is just straight up movie sets that people figured out they could do this with. And the point of these videos is not to make fun of anyone. Just because a lot of people go online, you see people having, and then your dream gets smashed. I've seen people stack up 3-4 in a luxury apartment, each paying $3,000 a month for rent, and then crying over their student debt. It's a bad system. Regarding the fake bots and followers, the FTC is cracking down on that to kind of fight against fake advertising. If you want to be a creator, be a creator. You don't need to worry about looking fancy for people on the internet.
I love this girl, and I absolutely agree with her 100%. You're going crazy, guys. Please don't do this. Like I said, if you have like an incredible amount of disposable income where you got it like that, sure. But if you don't do it. And what I find too is a lot of people who are good with their money and they do have a lot of money, they're not doing this. They wear like the most basic clothes. And I'm not saying you have to look like run down or pop down, as we say in Nassau. You don't got to look pop down. You don't got to look like you dragging slippers. Like, I look horrible. You gotta look horrible. You can look great on a budget until you get where you need to get. And then you can afford, if you want to treat yourself. But like, I really wish I could find that video, because I would love to tag the video inside of my description box. If I can, I will put it there, of the guy who makes bags, and he makes bags for or he used to make bags for like the big companies. Because when you see him creating the bags and he tells you the price, you're gonna feel like a damn fool for spending thousands of dollars on these purses. No way. Anyway, guys, drop your comments down below. I am so excited to hear from you all. I really want to, and I will join you down in the comments section as well. You can weigh in on things that you agree with that I said, or things that you don't agree with, because I know, for one, the conversation regarding PayPal, Klarna, and Afterpay, that's a big one for a lot of people. Folks will be like, oh, you got it like that, so you don't know what it's like. No, I don't got it like that. I don't front like I got it like that. And I've said 1,000 times, I don't have it like that. All the more reason why I'm telling you, don't be broke now and don't be broke later. But like I said, I'm not against it, but I'm just saying, if you don't have the money now, what's going to make you have it in 2 weeks? Even if you got paid in 2 weeks, now you got to set aside money for that. They're going to automatically take that from you. Boom. Can you afford it? So people get mad sometimes when you mash their corn because it's something that affects them. But I'm not saying it to be judgmental. I'm not saying it to hurt your feelings. I'm saying it because I want you to really stop and think, like, do you really need to buy something just to, for appearances, because your favorite influencer bought it? If it's inexpensive and you can genuinely afford it, or if it's expensive and you can genuinely afford it, sure, go ahead. But like, what have you done to, keep up with the Joneses per se, and how has it affected you in the long term? Because like I said, a lot of people are getting depressed because they can't afford these things. A lot of people are going broke because they can't afford these things. A lot of people are like, I'm just taking Instagram off my phone entirely because I'm tired of seeing all this stuff, because they allow themselves to go down this rabbit hole with people who make them feel insecure about who they are, or what they have, or what they don't have. You can aspire to own something. You can find it attractive. You don't have to go out and buy it. So for me, in the final analysis, I would say if you feel like this pressure, like then just take a break from social media, take a break from Instagram and TikTok. Take a break from your favorite influencers who every time they post something, you feel like a failure because it's like, I don't have that money and I don't have this and I don't have that, you know? You know any people I know who have bought homes because they just wanted to be able to stunt on Instagram? I'm like, you ain't need all that house. Even if the bank won't give you $500K loan, do you have to spend $500K? If they offering you $500,000, you can't find a $250,000 or $300,000 home. You got to have all the trimmings for a starter home. And guess what? After you already do like the little walkthrough and everybody like gawks at your home, who's stuck with the bill? You. Nobody else. I have a relative who works in finance and she felt tremendous pressure, she would tell me, to buy a brand new car because every time, and this is back home in the Bahamas, she worked for an offshore bank. And a lot of offshore bankers, you know, they're making buku dollars. And so when you pull up in the parking lot, you're seeing like the latest everything. And when you roll through with your little Toyota Camry, which by the way is a very, very reliable car, very utilitarian, but you feel like it ain't the BM. It ain't the this, it ain't the that. So now you're feeling this pressure because you want to fit in to buy an expensive car. Keep your car. Change your fuel pump. You don't got to keep up with them and then bank your money. Anyway, if you'd like to follow me beyond YouTube, you can do so on Instagram, at This Bahamian Gal. You can also follow me on my blog, thisbahamiangal.com, which is absolutely one of my favorite places. By the way, I know a lot of you prefer to listen rather than watch, so you can follow me on my podcast, the This Bahamian Gal podcast, which is on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, basically everywhere that you get your podcast, you can find my podcast. So definitely download it and share it with your friends. I will see you all in my next video. Bye. Mwah.